Daf Tes Amud Aleph and Kesuvos and following.
Yeah, no,
All right, don't worry about it. Omar and Daf Tes Amud Aleph.
but down here, put this in order. And this,
Well, there were stories told about some that are so bulky that you can put a pin in it.
you know, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Omer Kesuvos Matzasi Neman Lo Ozrallah. Okay, somebody who says, I have found the opening opened, and he has a kindness pursuum, and he says, I have found the opening opened.
In relation to who?
In relation to the Psula.
Good, his wife. Yeah.
He married a young lady.
Well, what else would it be? Okay, he marries
a young lady that presumably was supposed to be a Basula. If we know she's Basula, there's no Shaila.
No, to him there's a Shaila. To everybody else there's no Shaila. He's only Neman Lo Ozrallah.
No. He marries a young lady
Yes.
that's full. But there was no physical examination.
No, you
before
put all
they-
this. Rashi doesn't even put all this in. Rashi doesn't tell you any of
But
this.
Rabbi-
Neman Lo Ozrallah. Somebody who marries presumably a basula,
Yeah.
and then he finds out that for some reason or another
He feels that he found
he
her.
feels that he found every single word was. He feels that there's a Pesach basula. Make it more real good. No. Okay, he alleges that there's a Pesach basula. He shows whether he can live with her or not.
Yeah. By virtue of his statement,
Well, then he's answering himself.
that much validity that he can even answer himself.
Okay, presumably he married a virgin. He's supposed to be a virgin, and he says Pesach Patuach Matzasi. He has reason to believe that she's not a virgin in his own mind, and therefore now the question is whether his statement has validity. That she
Pesach says that he has. He cannot handle. He can only answer on himself. That's the only shaila. Whether he can answer on somebody else, there's no question about he can. Why? Why not? Why is there no question they can't answer on somebody else?
Because he's making a statement.
But there's no proof.
Because what's proved in the way?
Two witnesses witness.
Two.
Okay, I know in this case there's no mappa, but what if there's a mappa?
What's up?
The bed sheet. Isn't that proof?
We're talking.
We are talking at this point. We have no other facts.
Under three, then
No.
right?
At this point, we are just making allegation.
Okay, fine.
The closer is that we do believe him, even though he's only one. Although ordinarily, the Gemara says, testimony of two witnesses is a thing established, and one witness wouldn't be sufficient to establish anything. So how can we believe him on this thing? And yet he gives the news that we will believe him for that extent. Okay, read on. More ask the question.
The Gemara answers the question, "V'amai." Something speko. It's a doubt. Why is this that he can answer himself? It's a doubt on a doubt. And usually on a doubt on a doubt, we don't answer anything. We don't answer it if it's a doubt.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a doubt that whether she had been unfaithful after she had received kedushin from him, and then she would be answered to him.
Yes.
And the other doubt, there's a doubt that maybe it was before she received kedushin, and then she would be able to live with him. Right. In Kishalom, if you were trying to say that it was after she was married to him
That what?
that she had been unfaithful.
No. That she had had intercourse with another person. Not that she had been unfaithful. She had had intercourse.
Right.
Nope.
Okay.
Would a coin be ushered?
After marriage, no, why should there be also? Why should a coin in the first place? A coin had you to marry a husband.
Okay, she wasn't unfaithful. Okay, wasn't faithful. Okay.
We know that that's not
Right, because now
we're just talking about whether or not she. All right.
Okay, she was whether or not she was
Whether the incident of
Yeah,
living with another
before or
person
after.
occurred
Before or
after.
Okay, Tachta wouldn't be a shayla. Baratzam. Then there's a doubt whether it was a forced thing, and if it's forced, then he can still live. Then he can still live with her
Why?
because we don't answer him. If his wife was raped, he's not answered to her against her because it was against her. And there's something baratzam. Or there's a doubt whether it was with her will. In that case, he would be answered to her.
Why?
Because then she the woman who commits adultery.
Correct. Okay, fine. So you have a suffix maker, and why does Rabbi Elazar say in the case of a suffix maker that you can give him any kind of na'amonis? It is a very slight possibility that he could be correct. Because even if he was correct in one, because there's only, if we analyze it, a suffix, a doubt is like a 50% possibility. 50% it could be, 50% it couldn't be. Now a doubt is like a 25% out of 100% possibility. And then 25% is not sufficient to worry about.
It's too much of
It's a too far away thing, unless of course you're like Rabbi Meir, worried about a doubt.
unless these two cases
Yeah.
happen. The Ashes coin, because by an Ashes coin, if it was the shadow is whether it was tachta or tachta. There's only one doubt there.
One doubt,
Whether
in such a circumstances where there's one doubt,
there's only one doubt whether it was okay.
See, now that you see, the reason we go over this over and over again, because it's got to be clear in our minds what we're talking about.
Right.
The more times you repeat a Gemara, it clarifies itself in your mind until the point that you've got it down pat. And that's the way it should be. Every Gemara you learn, you've got to go over it and over again and explain it to others if you can.
I better start explaining. Could you again?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this. No. To me, I suggested to Yosef Yaakov that he should start learning with you and with him. Times convenient to either of you, and not only learning with myself. You understand?
Yeah.
Because all of you can profit from it. He can learn profit, and you can profit. And I would suggest that you go and have a kaviyah switch it up. And you too. You learn the Gemara, you learn the Gemara, and you learn the Gemara. He'll be learning Sumish, but too many same time. But I think that it will be beneficial to all of you if you do find chavruso. But you got to do that. He's your brother.
I don't think I
Well,
can.
you got to repeat it. Oh,
Because I can explain it, but then I think I know it, so I explain the way I think I know it, and I came out with something different.
sounds good. You won't be able to explain it to him well and for him to be understanding what you're saying. You'll find out whether you know it or not.
Okay, and then it says talking about talking about the wife of Yisrael, whose father accepted the kedushin for her when she was less than 3 years and 1 day old. And since she was that young, her Zul didn't grow back. So
Yeah.
therefore, the only shadow is whether top of it in the shadow. It's only honest bara or whether it was.
That means you have no shadow. I mean, there's no tackle in the
What
jaw.
about,
Whether it happened or not. You know, I mean, in that case,
what are you talking about?
a coin, then.
Because obviously,
and
if
it's not rough.
she couldn't marry herself off.
So it's not honest.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah.
We don't know why. It's just,
If it was before they were married,
Before they're married?
and then it was after they were married, he can't.
Yeah, after Kedushin, no. That's what we're saying. We're saying that it
After-
appears to be Nun Aleph, Amad Amad Beis, He only Topso. It appears that it has some kind of a fussing to make that an Easter. Yes. I ask you another question.
Yeah.
If I didn't answer your question, but obviously, what about this way? A person married, or a woman married one man, and he died,
yeah,
and she married another man.
yeah.
They eventually live out their lives and they die.
That's
Who is she married to?
well,
A woman have two husbands.
But is the Kedushin Chal?
Okay, let's wait. I mean, you'll find out.
You both go walk and say, God hates their lives, and you won't have a shadow.
He died. Is he still married to his wife? Since he never died, he's still married. Is he married to
Well,
her?
she died.
Even though one of them didn't die, is it?
That's another shadow.
That's another share. Let's go on. Okay, my question. What do we hear from it? To Nina, we learned in a brisa. However, we have a case in the Gemara and Kedushin, the same thing. So what do we have to learn Pesach Pesach for?
What do we have to learn?
He says to a woman, "Shtich, I married you." Vio marriage, she says, "Well, can you study? You didn't marry me."
But the witness is not presently present to verify it one way or the other.
They're not presently present to present their testimony. So then it is evil tears betrothal. She's permitted with his close relatives because she didn't say anything. She didn't open her mouth, so she can marry his close relatives. But who also the girl says, since he opened his mouth and answered himself, only himself, he cannot marry her close relatives.
That you married me, and he
now,
said,
he wouldn't be, she'd be up from him, but he can marry her relatively
What?
on the whole world. If she,
He'll say, I can't divorce you, I never married you.
Question.
so what happens?
So could she go before a basin and get her neder mitzvah like neder when she opened her mouth? Can she go before a basin Can he get it nullified before a base din?
No, because he's not her husband.
Himself, if he said this and he opened his mouth when he shouldn't have, can he get like a
Possible.
towel?
He's making on himself an Easter.
I know, but well, look, we open our mouths all the time. I mean, because, if a person's a human being, is just because he opened his mouth one time.
I'd have to look up the halacha. You got to be very careful that you don't go and...
No, I learned, in fact, a little bit off the subject, if somebody tells his wife, you shouldn't be alone with this man. And so that's already that's kinois. What? No, but I thought one aid is enough. And
when?
Like kinois. Rashi in this case, I want to know what Rashi, what the or what actually is supposed to be.
They know it's not operative anyway.
Right. So you can't say.
That's why I'm not supposed to say anything, because maybe a person can answer his what?
Especially in front of witnesses.
One witness is enough for kinois.
No, not enough. You can't prosecute her then.
I'll be sure.
How can you prosecute her then? You have one witness there, fine. It has to be kosher witness. Can I ask you something? Do they investigate the witness to find out if he's a kosher witness testimony?
Yes.
So if someone hires someone to be a witness and they find out he's such an unnamed type that he gets hired every month to be a witness about something. If a person hires someone and pays them off to say something a lie.
No, proper.
But how are they then accepted as kosher witnesses?
Maybe.
No. I'm saying now. How do they accept it? You mean supposed to be kosher up to now and then all of a sudden?
The same person became a shaykhid. So he presumably is kosher to chef. Then all of a sudden his piety is questioned. There's a question whether or not, presumably, if he does tshuva, whether or not he... So same thing.
If Aiden wanted a husband to divorce his wife, and do they just get lashes, or do they get divorced? You have to do to them what they do. They have to divorce their wives, or does that mean that they just get... Well, if it's in a time where they don't... Or they get killed? What if it's in a time where there's no ministry?
No,
okay, so
you were talking about kinoi.
Okay, so there's zero.
You're talking about kinoi. First we're talking about kinoi. You got to have first kinoi.
Okay.
Right?
Then if you have...
Wait. Now you're talking, now the question you're asking is about stira.
Yeah.
Stira as well.
Rashi here seems to be saying that you only need one witness, and the husband himself is good enough. What if he is strong witness?
So Omar law, but Taneim, I'll teach the imam. She's not also unless there's two witnesses with kino. It says specifically right here in the rough yard. The Eno Amashka, we don't even go and give her to get drink. Al Pi Eidachod, or Al Pi Atzmo. Al Pilo Ein Edem Shinistero. Ein Echod. O Hu Atzmo. Omar Ro'i Sio, Shinistero. Acher Shekinistero. Osro, Stira, Osir, Stira, Ashitishto. In other words, trying to say here that one witness would be sufficient, either he or a witness, after the kinoi with two witnesses there. Yeshua disagrees. Now the Kama says that Yeshua says, Mak Kanala Pishnayim. And according to the way I read this, the halacha is like Rabbi Yeshua.
Right, so he knows.
So you have stira as well.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not the way. Okay,
you're learning Rush.
Remember when I was learning with you? She's the one that the kind
It's
of.
very easy. How someone says in front of people,
no,
don't feel
it's
bad.
supposed to be easier than that. It's even supposed to be easier than that, where it can be done by.
So not only this, if a person has a suspected wife that's unfaithful, he has to give her kinui, a warning for two witnesses. And the stira also in front of two witnesses, possibly like Rabbi Yeshua. She ignored the warning and went alone in a room with this man that she was warned not to be alone. Well,
she didn't even know about it. She didn't read stuff, and they took time.
Well, if you had witnesses, so she was warned against being in that position.
Yeah, but then if she gets to drink it.
Okay, fine. All right, let's go further.
Okay, so.
All right, at least we established that according to the halacha, you've got to have both aiming for two witnesses.
You just passed the halacha by looking in a.
Yes, but I can look it up for you. I don't know that anybody's parents could do that on purpose.
Because, like, if
proven to be, she was unfaithful. Like it could very well have been just an accident. He works in the bank. She works in the bank, and he happens to be in the boat. And this guy happens to be a customer. He comes in, knocks the glass. Nobody was there, and he closes. Yeah.
Any witnesses that Chucky saying?
If they saw her husband wore, they saw her being trapped with a guy in the safe, do they have to be divorced?
Does not mean that
Adamant.
it's about suspicious. In the first place, Zafan Bey in his mazel, he's living with a woman that he can't trust. That's Zafan Bey. I wouldn't wish on any Jewish boy. On the other hand, I wouldn't wish on any Jewish girl. Hellish. I go continue with the Gemara.
Okay. In the case by Besa Pasuach, or in the case by the Kedushin, he's sure that he married her.
He's sure he went through a ceremony.
He's married, so
There's not a question here. He doesn't have to be a great maven on the physical makeup of a female. He went through a ceremony with her. He was there. He had witnessed to have the whole thing set up and everything. And I mean, he ought to know if he was at his wedding or not.
What if he's
videotape of it?
Not sure.
That could be manufactured. It could be.
Yeah.
You married me?
What if she says yes, and then they living together?
Okay, but over here, by the case by Pesach, we can't be sure that he's sure. We can't be sure.
But then you have to be married a lot to be able.
Or you're a medical student of some kind. At any rate, he is the ordinary type of it.
But if we're talking,
Why not? Who said you can't study medicine other than that?
you have to be a doctor. They won't let it. They won't like. How can we do it unless you're going to study? I know people can't. What I'm told, they can't become a doctor because they can't work with cadavers. You have to, in order to become a medical, to graduate, to get a medical degree, you have to be able to work on a thing, and they don't let you work on a living person.
I know they don't make you work on one person, but nowadays they have all kinds of plastics and things. They can simulate quite well.
I know people
simulate quite well the makeup of the thing. We have miracles of science, and now you can see on television the whole procedure, and you can work on making.
They used to.
I know, but theoretically,
From a dead person, is that okay for a coin? Mace, human body. So they always use. They're not going to use all the plastic covers and all. People donate their body to science. I mean, so that's.
Dad, if someone cuts off a fingernail since you're dead, it's no longer
no,
possible.
no.
Do you have to come out of a dead person? What if it came out of a kidney?
What?
Someone
From a dead
donated
person.
What if someone donated a kidney? It's a lie. I mean, it's not functioning because they're going to put it in a different person.
There's a lot of shadows here, but there's a question here of what if they only went around and shadow whether or not he is required to stay.
Well, they could try. Wouldn't it be okay? I mean,
They
that's still, it wouldn't matter anyway.
But if a coin's in a hospital, is he
Could very well do that.
then
Okay. Anyway, so it says here, he's not sure. He's not bucking on him to be sure on what he's saying. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
okay.
That's good. I don't even know what I'm talking about either. So
Do you know?
we're-
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to be with you?
Kamash Malone, we need both cases. Okay. Umi on the Rabbi Lozer. Does Rabbi Lozer say this? Does he say that by the case of Pesach Pasuach, that's the only case where, by that case, that he can answer himself, and that he would be asked to live with her?
Does he say that his own testimony alone would be sufficient?
Because then he's going to say no. Then he's
Others say that this is possible, that just the testimony of the husband alone is sufficient. A woman that presumably has Mizana ulcer on him committed lived with another person.
Okay. Right. The Rabbi will say that if his testimony alone can answer her for being unfaithful.
Yeah,
Without aiding. In other words, without aiding.
Even in the case of one something. Even in the case of one something. Could his testimony...
One something. In the case of two suffix, you can't answer.
In the case of one something, does Rabbi Lozer say that he is to be believed to answer his wife on him?
Right, okay. So it says in another place that a woman can only be answered on her husband in matters of kinoi, that he told her not to be alone with this person in front of two witnesses, ustira, and in front of two witnesses she was alone with that person. And like the thing that happened in the case of David and Bathsheba.
So we see from here you have to have much more, it appears, than the testimony of the husband alone.
Okay. And
immediately grabs this and says, how do you say? That what do you say?
And also, me Was she asked on?
So she was not answered. Otherwise, nobody else could never have married her later on.
Right. Look at
So therefore, on both counts, it doesn't appear that your statement has merit.
Right. Okay, look at it. This is what it says. A woman is only answered on her husband on cases of kinui and stira. From the Ma'aser, we look Ma'aser Shehaya, from the Ma'aser Shehaya. The lo have a kinui and stira. That it was not kinui and stira. Right. Lo itasra, and she was not answered on her.
She was not answered because we learned from
Because
that.
it's not kinui and stira.
Yeah.
There was no kinui and stira. Mikomakum, in any event, kasha to difficult. That by kinui and stira, then that's okay to answer her to him.
That's what. How do you say Al Pi Atzmo? She can answer on him. So you learn out from this, and now we've clarified that you've got to have kini. That means warning, affected, unfaithful wife. You're not supposed to, with that man, that other man, before two witnesses. It's stira, and being closeted afterward with another two witnesses testifying to that fact. In that case, she becomes Osher to her husband. But just to say Pesach Masuach, the husband himself testifies with no other collaborating evidence, no, that wouldn't be sufficient.
Okay, so
You understand?
Pesuach wouldn't be okay if the husband comes and says Pesach Pesuach. That wouldn't be enough. Well, if a man according to law, that only by kinui and stira, but if you have witnesses, two witnesses that say that she was alone with somebody, that wouldn't be sufficient.
According to your reasoning, you said the only time that a pal can be also of the actual Maisa.
Of the Maisa Tumah.
Maisa Tumah.
What about the Maisa of you only need one aid on Maisa Tumah.
We're talking now that we had no witnesses as to the Maisa Tumah.
But you only need
nobody
one.
that actually saw her living with this estranged man.
Why do we
just have circumstantial evidence that he warned her and she ignored the warning, but we have no witness other than that. Now we're inflicting another classification. Why are you trying to tell us the only time you can find a woman guilty is she has circumstantial evidence? But if she has direct evidence of witnesses, she can't be found guilty, and therefore that can possibly be. Because direct evidence is much better than circumstantial evidence.
Right. Okay.
So you understand that? Verify what you're saying.
Okay, but this is talking about the Maisa Tumah.
That's talking about Eidim is talking about Maisa
You
Tumah.
only want.
We're talking about Eidim. We're talking about we mean Eidim. We're talking about Eidim.
Maisa Tumah, you only need one aid by Maisa Tumah.
Who tells you that?
Okay.
You get that? Don't confuse the cases.
No,
But I want you to understand something now.
What's the good of
This
having
is
one?
the first time that Moshe knows the Gemara. And hopefully...
Still don't know it. I didn't know that was good. I thought that
Now
was
you're talking about that. Now you understand. First you said... Yeah, well, what you said?
After Kina, if she's already up to
The Maisa Tumah.
why didn't he...
Not so yet. She can still
She's still only makes it necessary for her to be
drink
tested.
the water. To drink the water.
Tested.
To hold it, waiting to be tested. Before the water, she can't still live with him. After
You can't live with him, but you don't say definitely he's got to divorce her.
oh, right.
Oh, when they...
Yeah, that's something different. Back with the other stuff.
Okay,
So that would come later on, but at this point, we're saying
Could she-
you go and make this establishment
So
back.
could she do
But the
that?
evidence can't?
Did you...
No.
You need 2 aids to the actual mic.
right, because this is not what Canadian.
This is direct. If you have direct, yeah.
No,
I'll be
but
covered.
what Rashi was saying was the Maisa
No.
Tumah, so divorce her. Okay, so it says.
So happen.
Right.
See, we're talking about.
What if she's a virgin?
So they discussed that question.
They would. Later on. Okay, so did we finish? Nami.
And then you said 80 low.
What I do?
Hello? Yeah.
Okay, a woman is not answered on her husband with one witness. Only there has to be 2 witnesses.
You have to have 2
for her to
witnesses.
be answered on her husband. Yeah.
We're talking about direct evidence. Direct evidence of tumah. Not us or on her husband.
Yeah.
The Torah requires 2 witnesses to establish a fact. The Goyish law forbids one witness to establish a fact, and that's not what the Jewish requires two witnesses to establish.
It says, "B'kinoi stira afilu beit echad nami." By kinoi and stira, if you have two witnesses for kinoi, two witnesses for stira, and one witness for the ma'isa tuma, then it's also good. It can also answer her.
Yeah.
Well, answer her from the.
He is still without the aid. He doesn't get to divorce. No, we're talking about divorce. That's what I was getting mixed up before, because with the two waiting, that he's got to divorce her.
Yeah.
If you think
Doesn't
about,
talk anywhere in Rashi
Wait a
about divorcing or any kind of divorce. That's not even a problem in it. Well, can't live
we're
with her.
talking about the time when they don't have the water, so which,
Wrong. She's also to him. Shiraglayim ladover, shezigsa. There is
Evidence.
some evidence.
Direct evidence.
Some evidence. Raglayim ladover means feet to the matter. In other words, there's some evidence that she has so shari kinala, manistra, echad meido she tomeo.
Okay, but like Sheila says, what happens after what happens after stira? If two witnesses come and say she was closeted with somebody,
He can't do anything.
then he can't live. He still can live with her.
We can't force him to divorce her yet. But once we have one
Can he
witness,
live with her?
presumably, I don't know, it's a gray area. But when you have one witness to say that, then we say she's definitely, she seems to say that she's usher to him at this point.
well, no.
No.
No, but he's not talking. He's talking
No,
about.
Zaka is right after the Korban, because unfortunately...
Yeah, look at it. Let's just read the bottom
Yeah.
line. It says the imkin.
Wait.
Yeah, where?
It's on the bus side.
Let me see. She's also a balo.
No, but look at the.
Here's a filo of a piece. What line you on?
The end. It says 5 words on the second to the last line.
Normally, Faraz, the Yotze,
Yeah.
that means he has to divorce her. Two witnesses for Kinoi, two witnesses for Stira, and one witness for Tuma.
Well, obviously it's divorce, but I'm saying with Kino,
No, no, what? No,
this is talking about the time when they had the waters. But if it's that, but it's enough evidence to divorce.
No,
her.
maybe he just can't live with her then. He doesn't have to divorce her.
He doesn't have to divorce.
He just can't live with her.
but here,
He doesn't have to live with her.
he just tears it up.
He doesn't have to live with her.
Me brought to the stove.
The marriage.
Ain't much no talk. And even if she wants to drink,
Wait, okay, can I explain something?
yeah.
If you have 2 and 0,
And you have no water.
and you have no waters, then he's forbidden to live with her.
But he's
He
not.
doesn't have to live with her.
Yeah, you don't tear her for Kesuvos either, because she still might be torn.
So what do you do?
You don't live with her.
Why you wait until the situation is clarified? You don't have enough witness testimony.
But you don't divorce her if he wants to then, can he?
If she
If he wants to divorce
But he
her.
has to pay.
Right.
If you don't have a aid, well,
Can
obviously,
never be cleared up there.
we'd have to find out more facts. If people can find out any more facts about
If
it.
she,
We'd have to
Find out
clarification read. It appears that unless there is an aid after removed. Oh wait,
And what were those witnesses were lying?
establish a fact. One witness cannot establish fact as against another person. The only question here is whether or not we will accept the statement even to prejudice itself. We don't even think that it's only one doubt. But if it's a doubt, it is so far away that we don't say that his statement is good enough even to knock himself out of the ballgame. That's the question here. So the question says, if this is the case, if you're talking about where there's only one doubt, in such a case, we will accept his statement to box himself up. Still, now, then the Gemara asks the question, why do you have to learn this concept? That he is to be believed, to box himself, as the terminology in the Gemara is, Shabbat Navkechre. He makes on himself a portion of prohibition. Rabbi, so he heard, he told me a story about another old mashgiach that was the owner of one poultry house said about another poultry house that they're not kosher. And then he turned around and bought poultry from them and put it under his brand. So the mashgiach said, I prohibit all this because you made a statement and you boxed yourself. You're a statement against interest. Yeah? And therefore, so we're talking about here whether or not he has enough belief in that. Then the Gemara asked the question after that, a similar situation.
I think Moshe should say it now. If he knows it, he should.
3 or 4 weeks going over this tomorrow.
So say it.
Should have a background. So,
So give us a background, Moshe.
We learned about Homer yesterday when you were learning a new thing.
No.
And I-
Could you, now that the tape is ready, could you recap what we're learning?
we're learning a concept here, why is concerned whether or not, under what circumstances, a person is believed to end the marriage and forcing a person to divorce his wife. Under what circumstances? What do we have credible witnesses for? We take an example from the case of David HaMelech. For those of you who are not acquainted with the case of David HaMelech, would you explain it to Chaim?
He saw this woman who was a very woman outside his window, and he liked her and he brought her. And the only problem was she was married. So he sent out her husband a lot of wars. His name was Uriel. Out into a lot of different wars until he was killed. But in the meantime, David took her to his house and he made her his wife.
Man, before this guy...
Yeah, he had already taken her before he got killed. So there's a
I can see you're a big-time judge. You make a decision right away. Don't make it
Rest in peace.
Our law says like this. If a person lives with another man's wife, and then later on, the first husband divorces the wife, the adulterer cannot marry, they can't marry each other. If the husband has to divorce his wife, he cannot marry her.
In this case...
And this married Bathsheba, and from the marriage after the second pregnancy was, so the question is, how can she be permitted to go without? I don't know.
She wasn't us, sir.
She wasn't on.
Theoretically, was not a married woman at that moment.
Why did he give her a divorce?
That's the rule.
That
of
was the word.
Jewish
He never had any questions about a woman about whether her husband's alive or not. Everybody divorced his wife. He came back from the war. So that was one way they did. Now we don't do it that way, but it saved a lot of headaches later on.
Because otherwise, if a woman prohibited.
Rabbi Elder says that a woman that lives with another man is prohibited by the statement of her husband alone. Didn't we learn a woman is not prohibited on her husband? You have to have certain other prior conditions. Kidui means you have to have warning. You have to have warning from two witnesses that you shouldn't be, two more witnesses that actually saw her defy her warning and go to that room with her.
Before she can be guilty?
Before she can be guilty of being